Right, let us continue our study of volume 20 of the Sutta Discovery. This volume has got a very interesting title. It's called Revulsion. It's a very powerful word. Revulsion means a kind of, you shrink back. For example, you know there is this fire or something hot in front of you, and you touch it and you got burnt. So next time you're never going to touch it again. You shrink back, something dangerous. So this is an idea to remind us that to identify or to know certain things in life, they're not helpful to us. Certain people may not be good for us. So just keep away from them if you can, shrink away, so to speak. But here they more refer to mental states. So if we know, let's say, a certain mental state is not good, especially there are three of them: greed, hate, delusion. So we try to shrink back from them. In other words, we don't get caught up in the kind of idea. In other words, we do not want to be cheated by these three negative emotions. They're called three unwholesome roots: greed, hate, delusion. Whatever negative things we do, whatever problems we fall into, they're always sooner or later somehow rooted in greed, hate, or delusion. Greed means this idea that we lack something and we want to get it. How do we imagine we lack something? By comparing ourselves with others, for example. And second one is the opposite, hatred or ill will. So what we cannot get, we feel unhappy and so on. So anger, hatred is very common in life. That's the opposite, very negative kind of emotion. These are sometimes called destructive emotions. Delusion is something very difficult to know. Delusion is, in a sense, always there. So we've got to make extra effort to know that what we see is real, not what we project from our past. It's very common when we do that. We remember something in the past and then we kind of superimpose it to the present. So today we have this sutta. Sutta is a discourse, a teaching of the Buddha, which tells about this very interesting person. Today we will call this kind of person an actor, a theater actor or movie actor, if you like, an entertainer. So in a sense, this is also about right livelihood. What sort of job is good for us, what sort of job is emotionally negative, and so on. So in Buddhism, this sort of idea is very important, that the kind of work we do also makes us happy, positive. We don't hurt people through our work, and our work also, in a sense, create a very nice environment. In other words, we can, through a loving kindness, for example, send out this wonderful feeling wherever we go, so that we make the working environment a happy environment. So the next time tomorrow perhaps when you go back to your office, the first thing you do is to sit quietly at your desk. You just mentally say, may all these people here be well and happy. May they be safe. May they get whatever happy things, good things that you wish for. Anything positive to these people. Sometimes someone will be having a baby, so this person's baby will be well and happy. So when you do that, you send out this kind of feeling, and then your mind, your face will somehow change. When people look at you, they have this sense of friendliness, peace. Sometimes this is called a friendly meditation, actually. Metta, metta is called different meanings, or unconditional acceptance. Okay? So this is a very wonderful meditation when you have to do with people, basically. Alright, so the sutta is entitled Talaputta Sutta. Talaputta is the name of this person. It's very interesting what Talaputta is. From the introduction, this Talaputta, if you look at the third paragraph, section 1, third paragraph, it's a Palmyra leaf box. From my imagination, the closest I can think of in our culture is ketupat. You know what's ketupat, right? But empty, it's just the leaf. So it looks like a box. So his name is something like ketupat, if you like, this entertainer. But he's a brilliant man. He could dance well, sing well, he's a good organizer. So he's got this group of like 500 entertainers, beautiful women, dancing, men and so on. And he's able to entertain lots of people over ancient India, became very famous. And he came to this big city one day, this big city called Rajagaha, and he heard of the Buddha. Buddha was a famous teacher back then. So he decided to ask the Buddha a question. Of course, the question he's going to ask is not exactly a religious question, well, sort of, but it's more like he's trying to ask about his future, like fortune telling almost. So he's wondering what is the karma, of a karma, that means action reaction of someone like him who's an actor. So this is the background. So now let's look at the text, page 86. Now this sutta is from S42.2, Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 42, sutta number 2. The translation begins on page 86. I'll explain as we go along. Verse 1. At one time the Blessed One was staying in the squirrel's feeding ground in the bamboo grove near Rajagaha. So we have an idea of where the Buddha is at this point. Is to give us a location. The Buddhist texts usually will tell us where the Buddha is, but we're not so bothered about time. One reason is because this teaching is timeless. Like now when we gather together, we study this, but that's the occasion. Because the idea is for us to learn something from this passage. It's not so much as a comprehension passage, it's not so much to understand the story. Rather, at the end of it, or as we go along, we ask ourselves the question, what do I learn from this? What do I learn from all this? And this is very important in life. In fact, today I just completed one more reflection, which we'll be sending either this week or next week. And this reflection is about happiness and meaning. A lot of people say, okay, what is my aim in life? To be happy, right? We would like to say that. But if you really ask yourself, how many people are really happy? Or even you can ask ourselves, am I really happy? Of course, right now we can say that we are very happy because here we are sitting doing nothing. And when I'm speaking, maybe you're listening to this talk, So we're doing what we like in a way, and we are happy, But the point is, it's not going to last long, Maybe another half an hour or so we're going to finish, We're going to end and you're going to go back on your own. You might get caught in a traffic jam or whatever, You go back to your daily life. In fact, most of us don't think about it, So we don't really know we're happy or not. And sometimes we're happy when we go on holiday, maybe. So it goes up and down, see? But there's something more important than happiness. It's called meaning. Meaning or meaningfulness, if you like. If we are parents, you find you ask parents how they are. If they answer you as parents, they normally will tell you they're not very happy. Parents have always something to complain about. Even work, even marriage. There's always something we can complain about. But the point is, we still carry on. We still find not hope, but we find meaning in our parenthood. We find meaning in our family. We find meaning in our relationship. We find meaning in whatever we do. We do something. So this quest for meaning is very important in life. Because life is not always a bed of roses. Even the bed of roses has lots of thorns. So what we should ask ourselves is, okay, something bad happened. What's the meaning of this? What meaning? What do I learn from this? And this is very important because in life there is no such thing like every relationship, every parenthood, every job goes smoothly without any incident. Impossible, it's no such thing. And if there is, then people complain it's boring. So you have another problem, right? So meaning is another very important aspect you have to understand in life. So these are two things. Happiness is one thing, meaning is another thing, and they go together, right? So here we see this Talaputta kind of happy as an actor, dancer, and so on. So he's going to meet the Buddha, right? That's section 2. Then Talaputta, the dance manager, approached the Blessed One. Having approached the Blessed One, he saluted him and then sat down at one side. This is the culture in ancient India. Very often they see a teacher, they will show respect and ask questions. Seated thus at one side, Talaputta, the dance manager, said this to the Blessed One. Blessed One is the Buddha. She says, Bante. Bante is an Indian word for sir, or in Malay we say Tuan, just a common way of addressing anyone, not just a monk. Bante, I've heard it being said amongst dancers in the ancient lineage of teachers, thus, for a dancer on stage or in a show who entertains and amuses the people with truth and untruth, after death, with the bodies breaking up, he is reborn in the company of laughing devas. Devas are the angels, if you like. What does the Blessed One say about that? So that is kind of like superstition, if you like. Say, well, if you entertain people, and when you die, you are reborn as laughing angels. No? So the Buddha replies, says, enough, manager, let it be, don't ask me that. So the Buddha avoids the issue, doesn't want to answer anything. Now once the Buddha does that, means he doesn't have a very good answer for it. He just doesn't want to say, he says, don't ask me that kind of question. But for the second time, Talaputta asks the same question. Again, the Buddha says, enough, manager, let it be, don't ask me about it. The Buddha was trying to avoid the issue. So 3 times this manager, he persists. This is an ancient tradition in India. If you persist 3 times, the Buddha will oblige. Okay? But then it is going to be something dramatic, because the Buddha is saying, look, I don't know how to answer this. But then, because this man insists, the Buddha says, okay, since you asked for it, I'll tell you. Notice the Buddha says something else. This is a very rare discourse. The Buddha doesn't usually say this. Look at section 5 at the bottom of the paragraph. Surely, manager, I'm not getting through to you when I say, enough, manager, let it be. Don't ask me that, but still, I'll answer you. What the Buddha is saying here, sometimes people ask the wrong kind of questions. And if you ask the wrong kind of questions, the answers are not very happy. So you better be prepared. So this is what the Buddha is saying. Since you ask this unhappy question, be prepared for the answer. I don't know whether you have read some of the reflections I wrote some time ago on asking the right questions. Our purpose or success in life is not looking for the right answers. Because if you find the right answer, you won't even know it is the right answer unless you have the right questions. So in other words, you've got to frame the questions correctly first, instead of asking the wrong questions. For example, if I were to ask you, do you believe in God? It's a loaded question, say. Because the 2 big problems there, one word is believe, the other word is God. See, because if I say, do you believe in God, I'm assuming that belief is a good thing. But what does belief mean? Belief means to accept something without knowing what it really is. And this God idea, it is so uncertain. There's so many different people, different ideas. So, which God to believe in, and so on. So it's very complicated. So in Buddhism we say, why don't we just set these questions aside? They're not very useful. So this is where the Buddha will say, look, let's not deal with this kind of question, because you bring 10 theologians, they give you 10 answers. So let's not quarrel about this. And moreover, this doesn't really help us in our daily life. Anyway, Talaputta insists, and the Buddha says, okay. And then the Buddha starts his answer on section 6. In the past, manager, when beings were not free from lust, who were bound by the bondage of lust, a dancer on stage or in a show would entertain them with lustful themes, arousing greater lust, right? Desire. Right? So these entertainers just means people have more desire. Now this is very true, because if you read the history of the Roman Empire, for example, the Roman Empire is so powerful, absolute power, some of them do crazy things. And then number 2, everything's repeated. They act out shows which are filled with hate, anger, violence. And you see this even today. And then the third one, section 7, just before 7, you have delusive ideas. And that's things which are not true. Maybe frightening things and so on. So what the Buddha is saying, these are 3 kinds of shows not worth watching and not healthy to show people. That is those themes with lustful desires, Okay. Number 2, hate and violence. And number 3, elusive things like fear, fearful and so on. Because the impact on us is not good. It will affect us in a negative way. That's the meaning here. So, number 7, the Buddha explains. He says, thus being intoxicated and heedless himself, he intoxicates others and makes them heedless. And having done so, after death, with the bodies breaking up, he arises in a laughing hell. Now, this laughing hell is not an actual place called hell, a laughing hell. It's just a suffering state where they're caught in this cycle of laughing all the time. They can't stop. And if you can't stop laughing, it is painful. Or another meaning is, whenever you do something, people laugh at you. So you're not happy because of that. That's the meaning, So remember all these words which are used in the Buddhist text, you got to ask what's the meaning. That some of them have symbolic meaning. So hell is just a word meaning a suffering state. It's not a place you are sent to by somebody. No one sends you there. It's a feeling that arises in our mind. For example, you see now, even in our world now, if you go to a violent place like Afghanistan or some of these places where fighting is going on, oh, that's hell. Lots of violence. People don't live long there, and they die very painful death. Right? So it's not a place we go to. It's a mental state. Now, manager, for individual of wrong view that means wrong ideas. Wrong ideas means what? Ideas with greed, hate, delusion. The 3 things the Buddha just mentioned. So it's someone with this kind of really wrong ideas. There is only one of 2 destinies, either hell or the animal realm, I say. So if people persist in creating nasty desires, like these pornographers, you go on online and see people trying to sell their product, and even young people getting caught up in it. It's really terrible, really bad. And then some websites encourage hate, for example. And then others, delusion, all wrong ideas, wrong beliefs, confusing ideas, fear, things like that. So if we persist in these 3 negative emotions, we are going to sink into a level of being very violent people or animal-like people. What does this mean? Well, this is an animal. An animal is the most predictable. Animal lives by fear. Animals, they have a cyclic life. All they do is, they go to sleep, and then they get up, they eat. And whenever I'm in the kitchen, my 2 cats will come and look at me and say, give me food. And, they think that every time in the kitchen they get food. And then once they eat, they go to sleep and then they produce babies. And then that's it, very predictable. So, even human beings, we can fall below the human level and behave like animals. Maybe we are fierce, violent like animals. Maybe we are ignorant, we don't want to learn, we're just happy not knowing anything, and we become superstitious. It's also like an animal state. So we can fall below the human state, subhuman state in other words. So in a sense you might say, to be a Buddhist is to try hard, to train ourselves to remain on the human level, not to fall below the human state mentally. We have a human body, but our mind is not always human. When we are angry, we're not human. Notice someone is angry and violent, we say, my goodness, this person is not a human being, he's so violent, killing people and so on. So we want to at least be on the human level. But when you meditate and you feel so peaceful, it's like you're in heaven, right? So you don't need to die and go to heaven. In this life itself, if you meditate, you're at peace, that's heaven. Sometimes there are teachings where the Buddha says, if husband and wife love each other, they're kind to each other, you have 2 angels in the family, you have 2 gods, 2 devas in the house. Right? So isn't that wonderful? You're living like angels, living like gods in the house. So these are all mental states in this life itself. 8. So when this was said, Talaputta, the dance manager, cried out and burst into tears. He broke down. And the Buddha replies, so manager, I've not got through to you when I say, enough manager, let it be. Don't ask me about it. I say, wow, looks like you still don't understand me. You're breaking down and crying. And then the manager replies, he says, Bhante, I'm not crying because of what the Blessed One has said to me, but because I have been tricked, cheated, deceived for a long time by those dancers in the ancient lineage of teachers. Thus, for the dancer on stage in a show entertains and amuses the people with truth and untruth. Then after death, with the bodies breaking up, he's reborn in the company of laughing devas. So he's saying, all these people tell me the wrong things. That's why I told myself, why do I get cheated by all these people? How stupid I am. So this is where he felt sort of regret, so he cried because of that. Then he says, excellent Master Gautama. Now we have this Buddha by name, Master Gautama. Excellent Master Gautama. Just as if one were to place upright what had been overturned, were to reveal what was hidden, were to show the way to one who was lost, or were to hold up a lamp in the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. In the same way, in numerous ways, the Dhamma being made clear by the Blessed One. So in other words, now he shows his faith in the Buddha's teaching. He said, wow, it's so clear to me now what you have told me. I go to the Blessed One for refuge. I take the Buddha as my teacher, in other words. To the Dharma, to practice the teaching, and to the community of monks, to take these practitioners, the saints, as his role model. May I, Bhante, receive the going forth under the Blessed One? May I receive the ordination? Now, this Talaputta, he's a single man, he's a dancer, a musician, so his life is some sort of free. So he decided, well, I think enough of all this dancing, I'd rather be a monk now. So this is a special case. You're meeting the Buddha, and he has learned something wonderful here. He has realized the truth on the spot, so he decided to become a monk. Then Talaputta, the manager, received the going forth and ordination. Going forth is the first stage. You leave home, and ordination is the higher stage of becoming a monk in the Blessed One's presence. And the Reverend Talaputta, the dance manager, not long after he was ordained, dwelling alone, aloof, diligent, assertive, and resolute, having right here and now realized for himself through direct knowledge, and attaining, dwelt in the supreme goal of the holy life, for the sake of which sons of family rightly go forth from the household life into homelessness. Okay, this is a very long sentence. The Indians love long sentences. So, in simple terms, when he became a monk, he did the duty of a monk, meditation, and so on. And then he attained the highest level of liberation, awakening, and he was free from suffering. He directly knew, this is how it's defined. Birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, does not have to be done. There is no more of this state of being, no more suffering for him. And the Venerable Talaputta, the dance manager, became one of the arhats. Arhat is someone just like the Buddha. So this is a story of a saint who, from being a dancer, entertainment manager, became a monk and became a saint. So such stories tell us that anyone can change, basically. But not everyone can become monks, of course, because there are also many other stories which show people don't become monks and nuns. They remain as they are, as householders, and we call them lay people. And they're still happy, they have meaning in life, and some of them become even great teachers as lay people, and they become enlightened just as they are. No need to become monks and nuns. In other words, it's a choice we all make. Right? One common thread that underlies monkhood and lay people, the word is renunciation. Renunciation. Now a lot of people misunderstand renunciation as simply leave home, tucha. But you see all these people who left home, they actually moved into a bigger home, called a temple. Wonderful building, very comfortable, more comfortable than our own home. But that's not the meaning of renunciation. The real renunciation means what? Letting go. Just now when you're meditating, what did you let go of? Now notice the first thing we did was we sit down quietly first. Why? Because this first stage, we are training ourselves to let go of the body. Let go of the body means what? Let go of seeing, smelling, tasting, touch, hearing, and thinking. The 5 physical senses, because thinking is the later. We want the body to be restful. The body is like 5 phones. And these 5 phones are ringing all the time. If we got to answer them, we hear things, we see things. Even now, as you're listening to me, you're seeing me, and maybe you look at me and say, wow, look at his specs, one glass is missing. Or maybe you say, this person is familiar, so someone. Or maybe you hear a voice and say, oh, this voice sounds like this, like that. Or maybe your feelings, everything, they're bombarding us, but we've got to decide which one shall we pay most attention to. And we're capable of doing that. The mind is such that we can do that. But we want to train it to be focused, because the mind cannot always do that. For example, when you start meditation, you find, wow, legs are a bit tired and so on. This is very normal for a beginner. So we have to find a proper way of sitting, maybe heighten the cushion, maybe sit on a chair. And as we do that, we realize, oh, we can just forget about the body. So we have let go of the body. Why do we need to let go of the body? Because also in meditation, you've got to attend to your body. A lot of work with the body. You've got to clean it, take care of it, clothe it, feed it, and so on. So we just have to sit quietly for a while. Just forget about the body for a while. So we let go of the body. That's the easy part of it. The next thing is we watch the breath. Now, what has renunciation got to do with watching the breath? We watch the breath because the breath is always there, and it gets more and more peaceful as you watch it. So, when we watch the breath, we let go of other thoughts, negative thoughts especially. We let go of thoughts about work, we let go of thoughts about anything else. Just watch the breath, because the breath is happening right here and now. It's true reality. So you watch the breath, and as you watch the breath, if you do it properly, the mind becomes very calm, very still. Like this dirty water you get from the pool or the lake or some muddy stream, and you put in a glass jug, and you leave it on a stable ground, and the silt will all settle, the water becomes very clear, you can even drink it. So we want the mind to be very calm and clear, untroubled. And you find there's so much energy, so happy energy with this kind of meditation. And then after that, when you come out of it, you gently return to the real world, so to speak, and you find you are energized to continue with your work, your relationship, your life, so to speak. So a lot of people come here, and all kinds of religion, not just Buddhist, and they sometimes from overseas will come here, because here is notice we try not to make it look Buddhist. It's an open place, anyone can come, and then they will practice meditation, because they find life very stressful, work life and so on. So this is one very wonderful thing we learn about letting go, renunciation. It's not just for monks and nuns. We all need to practice it, whether it's monks or nuns. So we let go first of all of the body, then the mind, negative emotions. What is left is peace. And this peace is the source of our true energy. And then we come back to this so-called real life as a better person, more functional person. Loving kindness also is a kind of letting go, but we use words, pictures. Sometimes we have difficulties in our relationships, it's normal among humans, families, married life. Sometimes we can't communicate with words. So what do? Number one, in loving kindness, we let go of negative ideas about people, especially loved ones. Because people are so close together, it's obvious we have negative thoughts about each other sometimes, said or unsaid. So we don't want to harbor them, because if you harbor too much of that, one day it might just explode. So loving kindness is where we neutralize, we diffuse, we convert all those negative energy into something positive. So we don't say, I don't like this person, but we say, may this person be well and happy. We think all the positive things. Traditionally, there are 4 or 5 stages in the loving kindness meditation. First stage, we think of ourselves. Usually it's the easiest, may I be well, may I be happy, very easy. And the second, we think of someone really close, something we really liked, wonderful person. But this second stage, we don't think of our spouses or someone close to us in an emotional way, because it's too early. At this stage, we might have other kinds of worldly emotions. So here we think more like someone, a teacher, relative, friends, very kind. And then third is a neutral person. Now the fourth one is to negative people we don't like, people who don't like us. I normally don't teach this in the beginner's meditation because I notice they're not ready. In the first lesson, when many years ago, I used to teach them, and foster is a think of someone you don't like, you see everybody very glum and not happy. Because they say, why should I think of something someone I don't like? You don't deserve all this goodness. In a sense, they are right, because they're not ready, you see. So if you find thinking of negative people in your meditation difficult, don't do it yet. Just leave that person. Actually, it's not a person, it's a memory. Okay? Just leave that memory alone first. You're not ready for it. Build up regularly, go on building up your loving kindness until you're so used to it that none of these things can trouble you. How to test it? Gently bring out this nasty person and in your mind and say, may you be well, may you be happy. You find that you can say, if you can say all those wonderful words just the way you say it to yourself, just the way you say it to the wonderful person, to the neutral person, and to this negative person, then you have healed this wound. It's just a memory. You have let go of this negative memory. Because we carry all this baggage unnecessarily. Right? So that's how loving kindness works in terms of renunciation. Okay? Then you might say, well, why are there monks and nuns then? That's because being monks and nuns is supposed to be like super highway, you go straight to awakening, see, and they're supposed to do meditation all the time. So there's a shortcut, so to speak. But even as lay people, you can do that. So it's a choice we all make. So remember, we must learn to let go of negative emotions. That's the meaning of renunciation. Okay? So this story is also about the kind of idea of letting go of all these negative states. Yeah? Right, this is a very short sutta, so we're finished here. So let's have some time for questions if you have. Yeah? Would you like to ask anything?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
For those who attend awakening, or maybe an arahat, would they be bothered by the past life karma?
No, no more. Because once you're an arahat, you won't create new karma. Okay? Yes, but some past karma may return when the conditions are right. But this arahat has no problem with it. He knows how to deal with it. Even the Buddha faced some past karma. For example, one day the Buddha stood in the sun for a long time. He was trying to prevent two groups from fighting, so standing in the hot sun. As a result, he got this very bad headache. But actually, I don't know whether karma is involved or not. Anyone who stands in the hot sun long enough will get a headache. But the storytellers tell us the Buddha's past karma ripened a long, long ago when he was not what you call a practitioner, not a holy man. He prescribed some wrong medicine. He was a doctor, so the karma came back. So it's a story told by other people, not by the Buddha. Okay? But the point is this: sometimes even saints do suffer. People hurt them, but they will never retaliate. They feel the pain, but they don't suffer. This is a strange way of talking, but actually we can also practice it. How do we feel the pain but not suffer? Because here in the suttas, the Buddha talks about two kinds of pain: body pain, mental pain. Okay. Now, bodily pain you can't really escape because the body is such; it will feel pain. Mental pain is subjective. It is how big or small you decide. A little child falls, he cries. But we bow our head into the door, we still kind of stoic, say, nothing, But we know it's painful. But we know it's not going to hurt us. We know we don't need any kind of people to come and say, are you alright? We are quite happy with it. But a little child is not so secure. So this is where the Buddha says, if you are wise, or rather if you are not wise, you suffer twice. It's like somebody shoots an arrow and you get hurt in the body, and then the second arrow comes again, and then you feel unhappy in your mind. So two arrows. Body pain, mental pain. body sick, mind also sick. So the Buddha instructed this old man who asked him for instruction. He told the old man, you reflect in this way, that you are old. Since you asked me, you tell me that you are old, you're not well. Reflect in this way. Although my body is sick, let not my mind be sick. It's a very important sentence to remember. The next time you visit anyone who's sick, it's something wonderful to tell you. This person will appreciate it. Say, hey, you may be sick, it's only your body that is sick. So always tell yourself, even though my body is sick, my mind will not be sick. And people get well faster that way. Because there is something called psychosomatic problem. The mind is unhappy and the body gets not sick. And doctors will tell you stories where some people, they actually fall sick because, you know why? They don't want to get out of the hospital because they feel that if they stay there, if they're sick, at least there are people taking care of them, especially lonely old people. If they get well, they go home, there's nobody to take care of them. So there you are. See, don't let your mind be sick. Body may be sick, but your mind must not be sick. Right? So, in the case of the saints, the Buddhas, their body are sick, but their minds are never sick. So this is wonderful instruction for us to remember. Any other question? This can say a general question also can.
One last one.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, in Chinese superstitions, they believe like some certain books they can read your past life.
Sure.
So talk about you owe somebody or your parents or something. Okay. But what we suffer now is actually what
Previous life.
Previous lifetime.
Maybe,
What?
but not always the case. You see, if everything we suffer now due to past action, that's called determinism, fatalism. That means no matter what you do now, there's no point anymore. Because everything is already fated in the past. So we must, in Buddhism, we never say everything is fated. Because everything is fated, we don't need to do anything. Whatever we do, it is, in a sense, right, you know what I mean? Fated, yeah? So this is where, for example, let's say, if I say everything is fated, and I were to hit you on the head, and I said, well, you got to accept it, this is your fate. Some people use this, to trick people. For example, they say you go to war, say you're fated to fight, you're fated to die, and they like to tell soldiers that way, this is your fate, But I think that's not a very good way of talking. It's wrong. You see? So the Buddha actually talked about this in one of his suttas. He says, no, not everything is due to past karma. Some things are due to past karma, yes, but not everything. But for example, let's say the fact that we are born a human being, we have a human body, is not past karma. It's present conditions. Our parents are human beings, so children are also human beings. It's nothing to do with karma. It is biology. So in other words, you have nature, nurture, right? But how we behave, maybe, we have certain strange fears that we can't explain, maybe due to past karma, something we have done and we couldn't remember what it was, all right? Okay, so here what do we do? Loving kindness is the best solution here. Loving kindness is the karma limiter. Limits the effect of karma. So if you say, may I be well and happy, may my enemies be well and happy, may you be well and happy, and all the time you have that kind of mind, the hatred of people against you won't work. They can try to hate you, but you don't have hatred. Because if you have hatred, it's like an antenna, so someone says hatred, you get it, But you've got no hatred, it won't work. You try this next time. Let's say your boss get angry with you. When people get angry with you, they look at you and their face are very ugly. And they want you to have an ugly face also. And then they look at you, you've got an ugly face, they're very happy. It's a mutually stupid action, right? So if you don't have that kind of reaction, instead you tell this person, may you be well, may you be happy. Your face changes, and this bully or this person with negative emotion look at you, it just feels stupid. They find that's not working, and he won't use this negative approach to you again, but it doesn't work. That's one, how you overcome karma. Right? Number two, okay, talking about gratitude. The Buddha says we have been, we've been reborn so many times. It is hard to say that. The fact you all are here, we have been related long ago. The Buddha says it's impossible that somebody has not been your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, this interconnection has been there for many, many lives, countless lives. So in that sense, yeah, we owe a lot of people a lot of things. I don't know how we're going to repay all that. So one way is being kind to people. Whenever people are with us, whoever it may be, we treat the person with kindness. So in one of the suttas to, what's his name, I forgot his name, one of the saints, never mind. The Buddha has said this, and it says if you meet, he tells the monk, if you meet a young girl, treat her as your daughter. If you meet a girl who's about your age, a woman about your age, treat her as your sister. You meet a woman older than you, treat her as your mother. So in loving kindness, we actually do that. There is a meditation called mother meditation where you picture yourself like a mother, and all these people are your children. Now if they are your children, you really want them to be happy. And this is a wonderful meditation for a teacher. If a teacher imagines she's a mother to all these 40 naughty kids, this teacher will be so compassionate. And compassion means being kind to people even when they don't deserve it. So we should try our best to be kind to people whenever we can, not just parents. Of course, yes, especially parents maybe if you like. But the point is this, there's a difference between gratitude and compassion. Gratitude is a kindness you show when people deserve it. You return a kindness done. But compassion is kindness shown even when people do not deserve it. So which you think is greater in this case? Compassion, right? You find someone in the street, he's fallen down, an old person. You don't ask, are you related to me or not? If not, I won't help you. We don't do that. Someone has fallen, we don't even think twice. You say, come, let me help you. That's compassion. Whether our mothers or not. But of course, we should be kind to our parents, our spouses, our relatives, definitely. So what I'm saying is, it's very difficult to repay our kindness to people. That is why one way is to teach them how to be happy. Right? That's why we write all this. Every week I write one happy article. Because occasionally I get people come back for counseling. And after 30 over years of counseling, you begin to see patterns of people's behavior. And sometimes you say, why do they keep repeating the same mistake? In fact, I wrote one article on that. Say, why do people keep repeating the same mistake? This person, who knows us very well, she keeps coming to us with the same problem and complaint every time because we're close friends. So in the end, I wrote an article. I said, I don't know why you keep having the same problem, but and then I wrote something nice that she read it and then she cried. After she doesn't come with her problems anymore because I suppose she knows how to deal with the problems better. So this is where I feel that if I can make people happy, once we write something that will strike them, they feel good about it. And people give me feedback, they write to me, and from there I know what I need to write. And these reflections, they go all over the world now because of the internet, So I imagine like the whole world is dark, and then anyone who reads all these reflections, they're happy. The one little dot of firefly. So you find lots of little fireflies, and then everything starts lighting up. So this is wherever we go, if we can bring some happiness to people, yes, we have, in a sense, we have tried to repay this goodness of others. So that gives us meaning in life. So it's not just we got to repay kindness of parents, but kindness of a lot of other people who have, in many ways make our life more bearable, more smooth and so on. Yeah? And many other people also have been our parents in the past lives. Okay. All right, so any other question?
One question. Okay, what if considering be it our parents, our brothers, sisters, who have done something wrong to us, how are we able to overcome this our own self to actually accept?
How to accept? Yes.
The fact they have done something wrong. How are we able to overcome? Are we supposed to treat them kind or ignore them or not talk to them?
Yes, this is not an easy question to answer.
Yeah.
Alright? So, but I've heard this many times before. and I have myself did such things. Okay, so I have some thoughts and feelings about this too. Okay, then maybe let me tell you a story first. Okay, some real stories clarify this kind of problem much better. A story about a daughter who was neglected by her mother, and this daughter has to fend for herself. And then later the mother, when she started working, she got money, the mother started being nice to her. So the daughter now is wondering, oh, now I got money, she's nice to me. Should I repay her kindness? Well, what kindness? No kindness. So she was caught in a dilemma. Right? So she came, this is a real story many years ago. So she came from teacher's college, she came for counseling, so she asked me this question, she said, I have this problem, my mother, when I was young, I think she didn't love me, We come from a poor family, and she tells us, you're a woman, so when you get married, you're going to take someone else's surname, you're not going to be part of this family, so I can't support you. No father, only the mother. So she was basically all on her own. She has to work hard, and she has to, and she went to teacher's college, and she had to give tuition, and then support herself through college, all the way, 4 or 5 years. And then she graduated, and then she started teaching, she got pay, because somehow she still sees the mother. Now the mother is very nice to her. So she felt a lot of anger, and I just like the question you asked. She said, well, now she's nice to me, but I can't think of any good thing she has done for me to repay any kindness to her. But the good thing is she comes to me and asks me, I was a monk at that time, she says, what do I do,
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, the fact that you are here means there's something good in you. Good people often suffer, I said. Right? You are suffering because there's goodness in you. Okay? You are suffering because you are ignorant. You don't know what's the answer. So it's not because of there's nothing wrong you have done, but yet you are suffering. That's because you are good, you see? And you are suffering because of ignorance, because you don't see the meaning of it. Okay? So I said that's the first good point. The first good point is you have come to the Dharma to find out how do I deal with this. Number 2, I said you must think of this. You said, why does she do this? I mean, would any mother disown her child? Unlikely, you see. So it's obvious that she must have some kind of problem in the family, poverty, things like that. It's a cultural conditioning. All these are cultural conditioning, I mean, Chinese parents, traditional Chinese parents, they tell the daughter, you get married, you belong to someone else, you don't belong to this family. But the point is that the family is poor. She couldn't support the daughter, and the mother doesn't know what to say. So I explained to her, I said, all right, you're talking about gratitude. You don't know how to show your gratitude. And because you find there's nothing to be grateful about, I said, fine, that is fair enough. Then I told this same thing I told you just now, gratitude and compassion, right? Gratitude means you return the kindness shown to you. In a sense that kindness is earned by the other party. It's almost like a political kind of kindness, because you got to give back. You owe somebody. That is why among the Chinese, if you give something, they always say, no, our parents tell us to say at least 3 times before we accept it, I think by the 3rd time probably the karma is neutralized or what, I don't know. So why don't the Chinese quickly accept something, a gift or help? Because they do not want to be obliged. They do not want to feel they got to answer back, they got to return, because that is quite difficult sometimes. The idea of gratitude is very strong there. So the other one is compassion. I say compassion is when you help somebody, you return this kindness even when the person doesn't deserve it. So which is more important? Of course, obvious. So she, in her wisdom and kindness, she could see the difference. So that's the second point. She understood that although the mother was not kind to her, she can still be compassionate to the mother. But there's still something missing, Because if I can be compassionate to the mother, I can also be compassionate to a beggar and so on. So what's the difference, right? I say yes. Okay, now the third thing is this. Even though your mother was not kind to you, you have to understand why. she was poor, she's not well educated, not sophisticated in speech, or just doesn't know how to tell you, and she is the result of her own culture, of our culture, which in some ways in those days they belittle women. So it's her upbringing. You can't really blame her. She's the result of conditioning. However, she did raise you the first 7 years, because the first 7 years of our life is very important. During the first 7 years is when our parents humanize us. If our parents did not spend the first 7 years with us, we won't be human. Imagine if we are lost in the jungle and if a wolf races us, we become feral children. There are reports of this. So in other words, we need the presence, closeness, support of human parents in the first 7 years of our life, our infancy, to be human. So at least she gave you that 7 years. She just supported you that 7 years. All right. So for that we are grateful. Yes. Okay. Then I gave her the fourth, the clincher, if you like. Okay. I said, if you don't return your kindness to this person, to your mother, you're right. Okay. But right doesn't mean good. They're two different things. Right? Now, if you do not be kind to her, you say, so the idea in your mind is, she has done nothing good. So I'm right in not returning any kindness to her because there's nothing to return. So you have that kind of thought. And then when your children are born and you tell children these stories, your grandmother like this. And if the child gets angry one day, the child might do the same thing to you. So the cycle is repeated. This unhappy cycle is repeated. So here you have a chance to break the cycle by telling your mother, okay, I know your situation, you couldn't help me, but it's okay with me. I'm working now, enough money, you're still my mother, I will support you, I'll be kind to you, because I understand your situation. So when I told that to her, she cried. Then I told her, I said, you cry because you're happy, right? You understand? So problem solved in a sense.
Okay, but let's say in this case, it's because due to the circumstances, like the mother probably could not give her a better life. But what if it's not due to this kind of circumstances, but it's due to a deliberate mistake? Let's say probably, example, maybe the mother indulged in gambling, a lot of debts.
Oh yes. A common story.
Yeah, okay, let's say this kind of thing happened. So should the children still be kind to her?
Yeah. Okay, this is different. This is sometimes counseling cases you got to do one by one. This is a big problem in Singapore.
Yeah, so if this kind of case, should the children
Okay, my advice is this, we should never encourage gambling. Okay?
No, but what if it's already happened? Of course we don't encourage, we try to talk and we don't encourage, but still
Number one, you do what you can reasonably to help this person. Up to a point that you find it's not really helping, in fact, on the contrary, the person is taking advantage of you, then obviously you should stop helping because it's not really help. Alright? However, at the same time, you must do this loving kindness, direct your attention, picture this person in a happy way. This person can change because people will change somehow, sooner or later. So if you do this loving kindness strong enough, and more people do this, people can go to change. And I've seen this happening. People have come here with this specific problem, telling my brother like this, my son like that. I said, do this, and it works. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't work. Then you got to follow the flow of things. Some cases are really bad. This person stole millions. 2 million, can you imagine that? From the company, from the uncle's company. Then the uncle took him to court and he has to spend time in jail. So, because that's the only place the family decided he could be safe. So it's a family decision. So these are things, I don't have a kind of a template answer. You got to deal with it at that time. Number one, as I said, you help, but if you see the help is not really help, it's just making things worse, you got to stop. And you're not wrong in doing that. And you're not at fault if the law take the scores on this person, because you got to let it happen. Maybe this person has something to learn, but you're always supportive. Once the person comes out, you're there to support. So in other words, we are not always strong to help people, but we are not to be blamed for that. But we can ask ourselves, why is it like that? Why is this person like that? Why am I not able to help this person? Because we all have our limitations. So it's the conditions that make all this happen. Nobody is to be blamed. Everybody is to be blamed. It's better to say nobody is to be blamed. To say conditions are there. So the idea is to make sure the conditions are not there for other people, so that they don't fall into the
So if we have done our best, then so like you say, we stop helping or stop showing concern. Then would the Buddha blame us like we're not pillar
Buddha
anymore?
doesn't blame anyone.
Sorry.
Buddha doesn't blame anyone. Yeah, because that's not the way Buddhism works. You know, like a doctor. So you see a doctor, the patient is a doctor, but the patient came late. The doctor gave all the best medicine, all the best care, but the patient dies. Do you blame the doctor? You don't?
You've done.
Yeah, but this is not even a doctor. You're not a doctor, and this person is not a patient. You are a loving relative. You have tried your best. It's not your fault all these things happen, and you have tried your best. So remember, in Buddhism, we do not blame people for each other's karma. If anyone has to be blamed, we blame ourselves. But even then, it's not the right thing to do. We blame conditions, we say conditions. Many conditions. For example, first of all, they have all this IR thing, this gambling ban. And then Chinese by nature like to gamble. So somewhere maybe they had friends that encouraged them this thing. So it's not our fault. But as I said, we do our best, know the limit. This person may have to go through his own karma. Whatever it is, we try to support him as best as we can. Of course, if we know services where he can get support and help, yeah, maybe you could consult them, because this thing you need expertise help, you know. You need to be trained in helping this kind of people. This is addiction. It's not ordinary problem. You know? So it's that even counseling is not so simple. We can only follow up with kind of supportive counseling. But the actual problem of gambling is an addiction, and it needs to be addressed specifically by specialists. Yeah? So, but I think if you really ask this kind of question, it means you can. So don't have the guilt feeling. Because in Buddhism, again, guilt, we don't have the idea of guilt at all. Yeah? You won't be punished because you help people and the help didn't work. Not at all. That's what you have done. So rest on that idea. I have tried my best. That's good. Yeah? Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so we end here with a short reflection. We close, just kind of reflect on today's study. Today we have looked at the story of Talaputta, who was a dancer and dance manager, who questioned his own livelihood of dancing and making people feel all kinds of emotional ways. And he realized that it was not the right thing to do. And he became a monk and became enlightened, a saint. The idea here is for us to ask ourselves, what is the best thing we can do in life? Go on asking ourselves. And the answer will somehow come in the peacefulness of our lives. In other words, keep on questioning important questions in our lives. And the real answers, the happy answers will come, and we'll find meaning in our life. And this meaning will make us truly happy. Reflecting in this way, we create a lot of wonderful good karma. By the power of such karma, may we be truly happy in this life itself. May we be at peace. May we meet with good success. May our loved ones to be well and happy. Most importantly, may in this life itself we attain spiritual liberation. May this string with you. In this peaceful moment, let us send out our loving kindness to all those people who have been kind to us, to all our loved ones, and also to those who need help. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be cleared of their problems, and may we be strong to help others when they need help. And may we be strong that we don't need the help of others. May all beings be be well and happy.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
Okay.